He heard breathing beside his ear. Before he could move, a cold hand clamped onto the wrist he used to touch the blood. 2 black eyes opened inches from his face. When the sun rose over the highway, Aman's car sat idling on the shoulder. No glass lay on the pavement. The chassis was unmarked. But Aman was nowhere to be found. Every door was locked from the inside, the central locking system engaged, and child safety latches active. The windows rolled up. There is no gap in this perimeter. To leave, Aman had to break a window, yet the seals remained intact. He was simply gone. In the middle of the passenger seat, scrawled into the leather and wet, dark blood, were 2 words: "Welcome back." Physical entry and exit were impossible. To find where he went, we have to look at the data Aman followed in the hours before the car was found. 12 hours earlier, Aman was on a route he had driven 100 times, the familiar road from Islamabad to his village. He knew every pothole and every landmark by heart. That familiarity ended when his GPS blinked and suggested a faster route. He turned. The road immediately narrowed. The streetlights vanished, leaving only his headlights to cut through the dark. A fog rolled in that didn't behave like weather. It moved with a rhythmic, pulsing motion against the glass, heavy and silent. He drove for miles without making a single turn, yet he passed the same rusted welcome back sign twice. The GPS had led him off the mapped highway and into a loop. He was no longer following a road. He was following an instruction into a space that shouldn't exist. Aman stepped out of the car. The April air was freezing. The wind had died, and the sound of insects had cut out entirely. He touched the sign. The letters weren't painted. They were coated in a thick, dark fluid that was still warm to the touch. From the fog behind him, a whisper broke the silence. "You came back." Behind him, his car door began to move. It didn't swing. It creaked open inch by inch, as if something inside was making room. His headlights flickered. In that split second, he saw a figure in his passenger seat, a pale face with black eyes, its neck tilted at a sharp, broken angle. Aman didn't wait for the lights to steady. He scrambled back into the driver's seat and sped into the fog. The warmth of the blood on his hand was real. Whatever was in the seat was no longer a trick of the light. It was now inside the car with him. The road stretched on without exits. Aman drove, but the landscape never changed. The GPS screen suddenly flared to life. It displayed 2 words: destination reached. The engine cut out. The dashboard lights died, and the headlights failed, leaving him in the dark. He heard breathing beside his ear. Before he could move, a cold hand clamped onto the wrist he used to touch the blood. 2 black eyes opened inches from his face. Then the breathing stopped. When the car died and the doors locked, the space became a container. There was no way to run and no way to see what was coming. This is why the police found the car exactly as it was, sealed, idling, and empty in the morning light. The message on the seat wasn't just a note. It was a record of what happened the moment Aman stepped off the known path. We trust our tools to find the most efficient route, but Aman's story suggests that some shortcuts lead to places the map was never meant to find. Block C is a standard residential building, defined by scuffed concrete and the low hum of an aging electrical system. At its center sits a solitary elevator, the only way up for hundreds of residents. The control panel inside the car features a common architectural omission. As seen here, the numbers jump from 12 directly to 14, leaving a physical gap in the sequence. The danger begins when the car ignores these numbers entirely. Without warning, the lift will stall, hanging suspended between floors in total silence. To survive this stall, residents follow 3 specific commands. Do not press anything, do not speak, and whatever you do, do not look at the panel. These rules function as a survival manual for a spatial trap. Ignoring them initiates a sequence that the elevator was never designed to handle. Armin was a new tenant. a skeptic who viewed the building's lore as nothing more than tired urban legends. He had no interest in stories whispered in the hallways. Late one night, exhausted from a long shift, he stepped into the elevator alone. He was the only person in the lobby and the only person in the car. He pressed the button for the 8th floor. The doors slid shut, and the elevator began a routine, quiet ascent through the dark shaft. He leaned against the wall, confident in the mundane physics of the building, unaware that he had just entered the kill zone of the Block C anomaly. The elevator slowed and stopped, not at a floor, but in the dead space between them. The lights flickered once, then settled into a dim, steady glow. Armin's impatience immediately overrode the building's rules. He reached out and pressed the button for the 8th floor again, then a third time, trying to force the machine to respond. A soft click came from the panel. Slowly, another button lit up in the empty space. It glows with a faint, sickly light, marked with the number 13. The elevator jerked and began to move, but it wasn't moving up. The floor indicator went blank as the air in the cab turned freezing, turning Armand's breath into a thick fog. When the doors finally slid open, they revealed a void. There was no hallway, only an endless, heavy darkness pressing against the opening of the car. A broken voice crackled through the speaker, announcing the 13th floor. Terror finally replaced Armand's skepticism. He broke the second rule, calling out into the darkness. "Hello?" By interacting with the panel and the void, Armand has removed the safety of the elevator shaft. The cab is now a fragile box, drifting in a dimension where the standard laws of the building no longer apply. A shape stepped out of the darkness. It was tall and thin, with limbs that bent in directions that defied human anatomy. Its skin looked incorrectly fitted, as if it had been stretched over the wrong frame. When Armand tried to retreat, the thing tilted its head. It whispered that he had looked. By staring at the panel and acknowledging the 13th floor, Armand had broken the final seal. The creature explains that Armand now belongs here. By noticing the anomaly and engaging with it, he has essentially verified his presence on a floor that shouldn't exist. As the creature reaches into the light of the elevator, Armand lunges at the panel. He smashes every button at once, his hands shaking as he tries to force the doors to close. The doors finally slam shut, and the elevator immediately drops. It feels like a total removal of gravity, a violent plummet through the darkness as the cables seem to vanish entirely. This free fall marks his final exit from the physical world. He is no longer dropping through the building. He is falling into the entity's permanent domain. The elevator hits the bottom with a violent jolt. The lights return to their full brightness, and the doors open to the warm, familiar hallway of the 8th floor. Armand stumbles out, gasping for air. He is back in the real world, surrounded by the mundane carpet and wallpaper of Block C. He believes he has escaped. Behind him, the elevator remains open. The panel still shows the number 13. And as this view shows, the entity is no longer in the void. It is standing in the back corner of the car, watching him. The next morning, Armand was gone. No one saw him leave, and no cameras caught anything. The curse of Block C remains active. Late at night, the elevator still stalls between floors, waiting for a passenger to lose their patience and look at the buttons. The horror isn't just the entity. It's the fact that Armand is now part of the trap. If the car stops for you, check the reflection in the metal walls. He's standing right behind you, waiting for his floor.